One wrong move, and Sibbecai would be crushed. Years after David defeated Goliath, another giant from the same terrifying bloodline entered the battlefield. Everyone feared his strength, but one forgotten warrior stepped forward instead of running away. He was not a man whose name was known throughout Israel the way David's was. He did not sit on a throne, and no crowds gathered to see him pass through the streets. He was counted among the 30, an elite group of warriors who fought directly for the king, called on for the hardest battles Israel faced. Later, David placed him in command of an entire division of the army. Years had passed since David struck down Goliath before the eyes of 2 armies. Israel remembered that day well. Goliath was gone, but the giants themselves were not gone. Other descendants of Rapha, the same towering line of warriors Goliath had come from, still lived among the Philistines. And when war broke out once again between the 2 nations, one of these giants marched out among the Philistine ranks. His name was Saph. Word of him spread through the Israelite camp before the armies had even met on open ground. Soldiers who had heard the stories about Goliath years before now heard the same kind of stories again. And the fear that had once gripped Israel's army at the sight of one giant returned at the mention of another. Saph stood taller than any ordinary man in either army. He wore armor heavier than most men could carry on a long march, yet it never seemed to slow him down. His weapon was almost as big as himself. Wherever he took his place in the Philistine line, the soldiers around him fought with greater confidence, certain that no Israelite would dare come near him. The 2 armies met at last at a place called Gob. The moment the Philistine line came into view, Saph walked forward a few paces ahead of the rest, letting the Israelites get a full look at him before the fighting even began. Some of the younger Israelite soldiers near the front visibly stepped back at the sight of him. Older soldiers who had stood on the field the day Goliath fell found themselves remembering that same fear all over again, the same instinct to look away rather than meet his eyes. The 2 lines came crashing together, and the battle spread quickly across the field. But it was near Saph that the fighting turned worst for Israel. He swung his weapon in wide, heavy arcs, and every time it connected with a shield, the soldier holding it staggered backward, sometimes dropping to one knee before scrambling away from a second blow. Soldier after soldier fell back from him. The Israelite army started losing and being pushed backward. It looked as though Saph alone might be enough to break Israel's entire formation apart. Sibbecai saw what was happening. He was not standing at the back of the army directing others from a distance. He was already among the front ranks, and from where he stood, he watched the line near Saph collapse further with every passing moment. Watched soldiers younger and less experienced than himself thrown backward again and again. He understood that someone needed to go meet the giant directly, or the whole battle would be lost at that single point in the line. So Sibbecai began moving toward him. He cut through the fighting, pushing past soldiers locked in combat on either side, closing the distance step by step. Other soldiers nearby noticed him moving with purpose in one direction, and some of them realized exactly where he was headed, and exactly what he intended to do. A wounded soldier near the front, the soldier grabbed Sibbecai's arm as he passed.
"Don't go near him! Don't be a fool, it's suicide!"
But Sibbecai did not care and pulled away his arm. The look on his face was not normal. He didn't just want to kill the giant. He wanted to completely destroy him in front of both armies. As he came within reach, Saph turned and saw him coming. Rather than waiting, the giant stepped forward himself, confident that a man of ordinary size posed no real threat to him. He looked Sibbecai over and called out loud enough for the soldiers nearby to hear him over the noise of the battle.
"Is this the best Israel has left to send against me?"
Sibbecai said nothing. He planted his feet, raised his shield, and waited. Around them, soldiers on both sides began to notice what was happening at the center of the line. Israelite soldiers still fighting nearby glanced over between their own clashes, and word passed quickly from man to man that one of David's 30 had gone to meet Saph directly. Philistine soldiers turned to watch as well, some of them lowering their weapons for a moment, confident their champion needed no help finishing this. A few of them began shouting Saph's name, cheering him on before the first blow had even landed. Saph struck first, and the blow came down harder than anything Sibbecai had felt.
Before we continue, these videos takes hours and hours to make. If you could, please like and subscribe, and comment which country you are watching this from.
From any opponent before. His shield cracked under the impact, a long split running through the wood, and the force of it drove him back 3 full steps, nearly stumbling over a fallen soldier behind him. A gasp went up from the Israelite soldiers, close enough to see it happen. Saph laughed, loud and confident, and called out to his own men, "You see, 1 blow, and already he breaks." The Philistines nearby began cheering in earnest now, certain the fight was already decided. Sibbecai steadied himself and said nothing. He looked down at the crack running through his shield, and understood immediately that it would not survive many more blows like that one. He could not win this fight by standing his ground and absorbing whatever Saph threw at him. If he kept trying to block blow for blow, the giant's strength alone would finish him within moments. Saph came at him again. Sibbecai did not raise his shield to meet it directly, and as Saph's weapon carried through the swing, Sibbecai noticed something. In the instant just after each heavy strike, Saph's whole body committed to the motion, his feet planted, his weapon swung fully through, and for a brief moment afterward, he was slow to recover his stance, slow to bring his weapon back to guard. It was only a heartbeat, but it was there. Sibbecai tested this. He let another wide swing pass by him, then darted in during that same brief opening, landing a quick strike against the giant's forearm before pulling back out of reach. It was not a deep wound, but it was the first blow to land at all. And it told Sibbecai everything he needed to know. Saph's size and strength made every one of his attacks devastating if they connected. But they also left him open right afterward, every single time. From that point on, Sibbecai changed how he fought. He stopped trying to meet Saph's strength with his own. He kept moving constantly, circling to one side and then the other, never standing still long enough for a heavy blow to find him squarely. Each time Saph swung and missed, Sibbecai darted in during that brief window before the giant could recover, landing small, quick strikes. None of these strikes alone would end the fight, but each one added up, and each one chipped away at both Saph's body and his composure. The Philistine cheering along the lines began to quiet. Saph was no longer landing the clean, crushing blows he had opened with, and instead was left swinging at empty air again and again, while cuts and bruises accumulated across his arms and legs. He had expected fear from his opponent, the same fear that had made so many Israelite soldiers step back at the mere sight of him. Instead, this soldier kept circling back toward him instead of running, refusing every instinct that should have sent him fleeing. This unsettled Saph more than any wound could have. He was used to men breaking before him, used to seeing soldiers retreat the moment they understood what they were facing. Sibbecai did neither. Saph's swings grew wilder as his frustration grew, wider and less controlled, no longer aimed with the same precision he had shown at the start of the fight. He began overcommitting to each strike, throwing his full weight behind blows that missed by wider and wider margins, his balance shifting further forward each time. Word spread through both armies that the fight at the center of the line had turned into something more than a quick and easy victory for the Philistine champion. Israelite commanders positioned further back turned their attention toward the clash. On the Philistine side, officers who had been confident only minutes before now watched with growing unease as their giant swung again and again, without landing a single solid blow. He raised his weapon high above his head, putting every remaining ounce of strength into a blow. And with the giant's whole body committed to that swing, Sibbecai drove his sword upward with everything he had left. Striking beneath Saf's guard, Saf staggered backward, his weapon slipping from his grip and falling to the ground beside him. Sibbecai did not hesitate. He struck again immediately, finishing what the first blow had started. And Saf collapsed to the ground at Gob, his massive frame crashing down hard enough that soldiers standing several paces away felt it through the earth beneath their own feet. For a moment, nothing happened at all. The clash of the wider battle seemed to fall completely silent around that one spot, both armies frozen, staring at the fallen giant lying motionless on the ground. Philistine soldiers nearest to him stood locked in place, unable to process what they were seeing. Israelite soldiers nearby stared just as silently. Then the silence broke all at once. A shout rose up from the Israelite side, one soldier, and then another, and then dozens more, as the truth of what had happened spread outward across the field. Philistine soldiers who had been cheering only minutes before now stood pale and shaken, their confidence collapsing as quickly as their champion had. Some of them dropped their weapons where they stood. Others turned and ran without waiting to see what would happen next, unwilling to stand where their strongest warrior had just fallen. Israel's soldiers surged forward into the gap Saf's fall had opened, and what had been an even grinding battle only minutes earlier now became a rout. The Philistine line broke apart entirely at the point where Saf had stood, and the retreat spread outward from there until the entire Philistine army was falling back toward its own territory, its formation shattered, its strongest warrior left dead on the field behind it. By the time the fighting at Gob finally ended, Israel had won a complete victory, and Sibbecai returned from that battlefield to rejoin the ranks of David's mighty men, counted once again among the 30.
Do you want to learn how to make these videos? Go to my YouTube page and watch the member-only video. I provide all the prompts I use, tools I use, and how I animate. These videos takes hours and hours to make. If you could, please like and subscribe, and comment which country you are watching this from.